Friendly greetings again. It's Torley. Don't let the relaxed sort of Fred Willardish demeanor trick you, because I'm very excitable. It's just more on a mellow side right now. I'm just making these casual videos, nothing too gloss or overproduced, where I'm just showing you what's going on with music. I'm always glad to see comments and requests. So I recently purchased Alchemy. We know that it's registered to me because this is a nice touch. It shows you right there. A lot of places make you go to the about page, as it were, or whatever. But right here, it's very cute. So Camel Audio Alchemy, you may have seen my other videos in it. It's just loaded with stuff, and I could just keep digging through all the tabs, but the cool thing is you can make it simple too. I wanted to show you, and this is the first time I've tried most of these actually. I just tried it out briefly before, but one of the sound expansion sets called BigTone. And I've read on KVR Audio a lot of raves about this, really pleasant. So neat thing is you already have some predefined categories for this, and shows the sound designer's name, which I think surprises me in so many soft synths, that the sound designer's name might be reduced to an abbreviation. But I think that these are the people that power a lot of the music that's coming out, and it's really, really rewarding to know who they are, especially some of them, they become more prolific. And I think that the thought of obscuring the sounds or sources you use, I think that's really stupid and foolish, because I like to attribute the sound designers and say, ooh, well, let's play something. And it's gorgeous like that. And this is what Alchemy can do for you. If you're new to software synthesizers, I have no clue all the technical guts, hey, that's all right. It's like one of those science shows where I like to demystify what's going on. You can morph. Each one of these has, and you're seeing this more, I know that Core native Instruments has a pad like this in which you have different parameters and you can morph. I dig having this effects chain because you can create really rich stuff integrated within. It's similar to, not the same as, but some of these workstation synthesizers, like I used to play with the Roland XP50, and it was really cool at the time to have multi effects. And the problem with a lot of those was they had limited power at the time. When you take different patches, they're not going to retain the sound, all the effects within a performance. And so I was like, oh, it sounds so thin without them. But thanks to track freezing and just in general having a powerful computer, let's just go through a bunch of them. Nico-Hertz, is it? And the impression you may get by some of these is, oh, this sounds like something that was in a movie, a sci-fi movie. So some people, they do different things for therapy. This is what for me is better than therapy, because I have my headphones on and I go on these sonic journeys and I'm imagining, where can I place myself? What sort of planet, dimension, as I cross from one to another? It's like warping through a Stargate or in Sliders. And so a lot of these, I don't know what I'm going to play, but I hear it. And there's that fusion between the sound designer, BigTone, Nico-Hertz, and myself, where I am, and there's this melding that takes place. It's kind of a Deus Exian. It's like, let's see here. That's fun. Kind of like, and these are all editable too, which is really, really beautiful. Nice play with sine waves. If you're watching this, I must warn you now, I'm going to go on for a while with this. You can turn back if you want, but this is just a raw, uncensored look at playing the sound. Might want to turn my mic a little bit this way. So let's try more of the... I often like to, here's another thing. I think this would be asking too much for many, many sounds, but in the cases where we have, okay, I wonder if that BT is a reference to Brian Trent, so I'm just curious. Or BigTone in this case. Because I know BT, he endorsed the synth like mad. He's got a great testimonial. He says it's the best, superlative. I'm paraphrasing, of course. Don't quote me out of context on that. Oh, what happened there? Why did it cut off? One moment. I am unsure as to why that happened. One moment, please. Anyways, I rebooted Ableton Live. I don't know what happened there. I've had some outages recently due to power. There's been a lot of wind and storminess. So let's go on. These keywords do the same thing right now. They're mapped to the same. Trance music comes up a lot, but I think the ways to recontextualize it. I think a lot of hip hop productions could use more arpeggios, hop and bass or something. Trance hop. I don't yet know how to mark my favorites in this if there in fact is a way. Oh, what I was going to say, I wish for each one of these there was a story to go along of how it was inspired or the situation in which the sound designer made it. I love hearing those inspirations. The whole nature of the creation process, really. I think we're moving out of this session soon, but there's a lot of help in making an informed buying decision. So this is really versatile because you can load in samples and then you can modulate them, you can effectify them, if that's even a word, in all sorts of ways. Okay, now we're in the basses. What they mean here, 8 basses, is you can design your own by here. So when I hear that, I think, okay, a lot of dance tracks, they have one bass sound throughout the whole thing, but what if you could change that midway or... Very cool. This is cool because it has a delay effect, the echoey thing, but it doesn't go on for too long, otherwise it would really clog the mix. These are kind of things when you're new, you're like, oh, I'm gonna splash effects all over it. But then you realize in a mix, there's only so much bandwidth, which is why individual sounds, if you have one piano sound, that's all. You can make it, of course, it would just be distinguished by itself. But as harmonics get more complex and they approach white noise because of everything going on, you learn to take things like that into consideration. This kind of reminds me of like This is like classic techno. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, I like the pitch bend range on that. I can see it's maximum. A lot of these are monophonic. I see if I... It's like... Hands are falling asleep. Mortal Kombat! You have memories of that in the Hacker soundtrack. What else was happening then? It's funny when you share, oh, this is like the 70s kind of lovemaking. Or 80s, I guess. 80s ballad. Nice. That's interesting. It starts off with the mod wheel down. I mean, with the mod wheel up. Leads or lads, as I like to call them, because they can be heavy. It's the kind of thing for your Goa trance or something. But this could use a interesting two different. So up it goes 2, down it goes an octave. Interesting. That's kind of like Wendy Carlosian. Or ill-tempered. I could see this being really nice during a breakdown portion. How much we have left to go? I'm going to go through all of them, okay? Let's just take a nice stretch and relax. Trancey is like this. I bet if you turn on the arpeggio, it becomes even more evident. Let's see. Funny. It's really nice. Hard say, is that like trance? Oh, sweet. A sweet sweep. Oh. It's like sweep. Translead Toolbox. That's a compelling name. Oh. I got all the cliches right there. One thing I'm already discovering about this BigTone sound set is, sure, you've got cliched sounds like this, but you can warp them so much further, and that's nice. You can take them out of context. That's like the human arpeggiator is what I call that. It's like, put drum loops in there, I guess. It's like a street fight thing. That's very fun. Kind of arpeggiator too. Oh, this would be cool to put in a house. These sounds fall into my mind. If you know that one, look at it. We can crunch it up with distortion. That almost feels like Apache. Wait! So, oh, this is very garagey house. Oh, that's cool. So that makes it easy because you can control all these 8 with a setting from here. Multimorph, really. This reminds me of Postar. Do-do-do-do-do-do. You call it the minimal house where they do like, it's like you hold it down. It's like. It's just very, very basic. Fresh Prince, kind of. So a lot of these loops fall into that. Oh, let's put some stutter at it. Oh, it slows it down. Oh, I see. There's time warping controls in here, granular, additive, synthesis, all sorts of crazy stuff. It's like bongo. Okay, now we're in the pads. How would I be not speaking for this part with the pads and just play some beautiful stuff? Actually, let me interject, pardon. There's actually an XY pad in this. It's a bit tricky to map. Let's see if I can get it down here. I'm not sure if it'll stay between patches. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Haven't tried that, but we'll see here. Let's C and Y. It's like that. So, oh, it's inversed, but we'll see if it goes between. It's like a descendant of Lore, not Data's brother, but from the Korg. Did Eric Persson make that? I don't quite recall who. Oh, good. It does retain, so I want to map it correctly here. So it goes up. Okay, but that goes up and down. And that goes left to right. Yes! It's like one of those weird 70s science fiction documentaries. Some of these soundscapes are like pads, but perhaps richer and evolving in some respects. I like that. The creative process for me when I play something, then I quickly, within the space of seconds or even shorter than that, as I mentioned before, I transport my mind into another place and then I try to figure out, contextualize. If I was there, how would I express? And I get onto the controls and I quickly figure it out. It's got to be intuitive. And that's one thing I really like about Alchemy is these things, the modulations are really sensibly mapped by, of course, it takes an expert sound designer to do that, because sometimes I'm disappointed when I expect more than vibrato woo, from the mod wheel. But here, there's the remix pad, there's all this stuff. This is a great controller for this, by the way, because it's just got oodles, map stuff, but it's just really neat. So this, unlike the previous sounds, it's more dry. It's not so much evolving. This as a sound just reminds me of something famous like that. improv can just take you places. That's why it's nice to have a recorder running often, so you can capture those moments. we've reached the end here. Hope you've enjoyed voyaging with me, and I'm going to try some of these out in greater depth. I've made mental notes. Of course, when you get Alchemy, there's the default the default factory presets. Apparently, I think there's 450 or more of them now, but that was just really nice to just go voyaging for a bit. And it's a good practice for me too, because I'm not totally self-conscious when there's a camera going. It's somewhat of I wouldn't say a distraction, but knowing that you're going to be watching this, it does affect me in some ways, but I guess the more I do it, the more natural it's going to seem. So all part of a very much a learning process. So thanks. This has been Torley showing off Alchemy BigTone presets, just a really casual romp. That's how it happens, what people don't see behind the scenes, but apparently you do, and you hear it too.